Doop, ba-doop, ba-doop, doop, doop. Hey, comic friends, I'm Travis. It's new comic book day, yay! Or at least new comic book day for me. I actually got these books Thursday. This is Sunday morning. That's kind of how busy I have been. I am actually still reading last week's books. It's one of the reasons why there's no comic book roundtable this week. Was I was working Saturday, didn't get off in time to actually read my books. Work's been kind of a disaster as far as me having time to really do much of anything else. But here are my books for this week. More importantly, here in about an hour and 15 minutes, I am going to be over on Eric's channel, Longbox Review, and we're going to be doing late breaking news live. You should check that out. If you're subscribed to me, I actually have it down in the comments this time, a link to his channel. Go subscribe to him. He's around 100 subscribers. I don't understand how I'm around 800 and he's around that. Anyway, he's mostly a podcaster, but he does load his podcasts onto YouTube. So if YouTube is where you get your stuff from, you can check it out there. Like I said, the live program is actually our faces talking. Every once in a while, he'll do other things with other YouTubers. So he uses YouTube, and you can see stuff on there. Otherwise, it's just a kind of blank screen, basically, while you get to listen to him talk about whatever cool stuff's going on. He podcasts with some other awesome guys to talk about stuff that normally I don't care about, but I do find interesting. Legion's a superhero, that kind of stuff. He's gonna hate me for hearing me say I don't care about Legion of Superheroes. Anyway, books this week. 16 books. One of them is doubled up because it is variant cover, I believe. So we'll check that out when we get to it. One of the few titles I pick up variant covers for. Anyway, right off the bat, X-Wives. This is a new book from Vertigo Comics. The Vertigo line. I cannot remember exactly what this is about. Ben Blackadder is writing it. Markia Andolov is doing art on it. Clearly, I know it has to do with wives. It's a Vertigo book, so I always pick up the Vertigo books regardless of what's going on there. Morning, Terrence. Morning, Comic Crack. I always check out all the Vertigo books, largely because, of course, I get deep discounts with Discount Comic Book Service. So it makes it fairly easy for me to, hey, there's naked people in this. Fairly easy for me to, lots of naked people at the beginning of it. So at the beginning of it, we, of course, we're burning some witches. So clearly it has to do with witchcraft and whatnot, which makes sense with it called Hexwives. I get 50% off. I get 50% off all of my Vertigo books. So I'm always jumping on the Vertigo books, try them out. But you really like most of them. They're at least entertaining. And like I said, 50% off. So it's costing me a whole $1.99 or something like that. So in this day and age of comic books, that seems pretty reasonable. So I always try them out. Anyway, what do we got next? Here's a Crisis issue number 2. Here they are ripping off that wonderful cover. I can't remember what title, which cover it is, exactly what number, of Wonder Woman standing on Batman's head. Of course, this is Harley Quinn with the lasso of truth wrapped around Batman. Art is beautiful in this book. I am, I've only read issue 1. Obviously, mixed feelings about it. I am curious about it in and of itself. Not necessarily exactly what I thought the book was going to be. I thought it was going to be a book about PTSD, and maybe it is. And clearly, we're only one issue into a Tom King book. So of 9, so how would I make a judgment based on that, right? I actually like the first issue for what it was. I wish it didn't have an actual impact on the rest of the DC universe. I wish this was kind of this alternate, tell its own story for what it's going to be, and it not mess up everything else that's going on around it. But the Clayman artwork and the moire colors were really, really nice on the first issue. I mean, like really, really nice. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm curious about the book. I'm curious. I'm not hating it yet. So next up, we have issue 2 of Faith, the Dream Side. This is a Faith miniseries, drawn by the original crew of the book. I just find Faith a lot of fun. Disembodied Voice finds Faith a lot of fun. So we pick up the Faith, right? In this, she's kind of like fallen into a dreamscape. Things have not been going well for Faith. When her series ended last, she held off an alien invasion, and kind of like her nemesis the villains that she's been fighting with all kind of gathered together and set her up to look like a bad guy. So basically, she can't be Faith. If she shows up as Faith, everyone tries to arrest her because they've made this illusion of her, shooting like a teacher in the head and doing a whole bunch of other horrible stuff. So she's doing a bit of a struggle, and Faith is a contemplative person. She is in her head a lot, so we get a lot of interesting story around that, and it's just fun. I mean, because she's got this great grasp of pop culture, and the book uses it very appropriately, and just makes it a lot of fun. We have next. Oh, so here it is. This is the final 12th issue of Doom Patrol. Supposedly, there's going to be more new Doom Patrol. I will be talking about that on Late Breaking News with Eric later on today. But here's issue 12. It is probably 6 months, if not more, late for a cover comic. That is ridiculous. I love this cover because it's a mock. Anybody who played the old D&D back in the day, it is a mock cover of a D&D thing. And it makes sense because we're dealing with this kid who somehow has tapped into the black magic and whatnot, and kind of the stereotypical, play D&D and listen to the devil music and that sort of stuff. So fun cover. I'm curious to see what this is. This is kind of like a solo story, and my understanding is it sets up the stuff that's going to happen in Milk War. The Milk War was almost a year ago, I think, at this point. So ridiculous as far as the timing and whatnot goes. And like I said, I'll talk about it more on the Late Breaking News. And Terrence is asking me if it's been good. I've enjoyed it. Is it really telling a good story? I don't know. And the longer I am away from this run, the less I'm inclined to think so. There's great character moments in it. There's fabulous characters, new characters introduced. Questionably, is it a Doom Patrol story? Because it doesn't even really focus on what we would consider the core characters. I mean, they're there, but these new characters that they created, Casey seems to be the focal of this original stuff. So I get the embracing the Grant Morrison, esqueness stuff. But yeah, I don't know. My opinion of Gerard Way as a writer is lessened considerably. Cool ideas, some interesting characters. Not sure that we hit the execution or whatnot. Probably with as much time between issues as there has been, I probably need to read this and then go back and read the whole thing again. Now, is it as bad as like John Byrne's run of Doom Patrol? No, nothing's going to be as bad as that. I really despise that run of Doom Patrol. But yeah, we'll see. I'll read that issue and we'll find out exactly what that is. Britannia. This is issue number 4. This is the final issue of the Britannia Lost Eagles of Rome. So, the detective will figure it all out at the end, I am sure, or he's going to get executed. I don't know. I doubt that. I mean, he's the first detective, and I'm sure they'll go on with other miniseries of this. It's been fun. I've enjoyed this. This adventure has basically been largely in Egypt. It has to do with curses and locusts and all kinds of other crazy stuff. The main premise is that Nero has hired him and sent him out to find some of these eagles. These eagles for the Roman Empire are like the spirit of the Roman Empire. Regardless of what happens to the Legion, somebody always saves the eagle and rushes and gets it back and away from the enemy. Or if it gets captured by the enemy, of course, they send all their armies out to destroy it. Well, supposedly these eagles were lost in Germany and amongst the barbarians and whatnot. Everybody's kind of afraid to go there and take care of it. So they've sent the detectioner to do so. Well, the detectioner is basically kind of like low-key Sherlock Holmes. He's not ridiculously just knows everything, but he is doing detective work during the era of Rome to try and figure out what's going on. And he ends up going to Egypt because he is following where he thinks the clues are leading them. And right now, his sidekick is this woman who fought in the gladiator pits. She's about ready to get her freedom. And now her freedom is pendant on helping get these eagles back. And she's a bit upset because she thinks they should be in Germany because that's where they were told to go. And instead they're in Egypt. So, but some good stuff. I've been enjoying it. Next up is what? This issue 4? Yeah, issue 4 of the Bone Parish, a book about this small family in Louisiana who has they're creating a drug made out of the ashes of dead people, and when you consume the ashes, snort them, smoke them, whatever, you have some of the life experience of the dead person. So clearly, if you get the ashes of, say, somebody who's a rock and roll star, you could experience all that, you know, all that great stuff and whatnot. Meanwhile, there is a New York mafia is trying to buy them out, and a cartel from Mexico is moving up and is going to destroy them and take it that way. And this family's kind of stuck in between. So there's some wonderful horish, ghoulish things going on in it, and it has this kind of mafia drug cartel, you know, kind of a story to it too. Really like that cover. The Omega signs on the gas mask there is pretty cool. Yeah, I've been enjoying it. I don't know that it's horror. It has some gruesome stuff in it. It's been billed as horror, but it's been cool. The final issue of the Witching Hour stuff. This is Justice League and Justice League and Wonder Woman #1. The final of the Witching Hour stuff. This has been a fun run of stuff. I think ultimately when we get to the end of it, it's going to be non-consequential, of course. But still, I really enjoyed the art. I love the characters. All these magical characters in the DC universe always tickle my fancy. But the numbering of this stuff is maddening to me. So we had a Wonder Woman Justice League Dark #1. Then we had a crossover between Wonder Woman and Justice League Dark, and then we get this at the end of it. Yeah, I don't know, but we'll see how it ends. Book I'm looking forward to reading just because it's always a fun, good laugh. Issue 3 of West Coast Avengers. I don't know what else to say about Kelly Thompson. Is just a really smart writer. She writes comedy really well. And so in this, it's a much more comedy than like in the Hawkeye series that she ran. This one so far hasn't had any real definite like serious moments. It's all been relatively goofy sort of stuff, but it's been fun. Like I said, I really enjoy it, and it's got characters in it that normally I would find incredibly obnoxious, and they have all been fun too. Gwenpool, for instance. Those characters that I basically would not touch a book with them in it, but they've been fun in this. So yeah. And issue 18 of Wildstorm. Right, there's stuff after this. Right after this Wildstorm runs over, there's other books that are coming. I hope so, because Jared Osborne's here, and he tells me that it's going to be these 3 groups fighting, which I get. But so it's going to be 6 issues of that, and then it's all done. It's going to have some sort of resolution. If not, it feels to me like there's going to need to be more book to address all of the stuff that's going on in the book. I'm really enjoying it. I like Davis Hunt's artwork quite a bit. Laurel and Ellis always has something interesting to say generally. So yeah, I've been digging it. Oh, love this cover. This is a great cover. I'll have to look to see who did this cover. So this is Barbarella issue #11. Yes, I am still buying Barbarella. Not sure how much longer Barbarella is going to go on. After issue 12, I don't know that I've seen solicitations for it. I don't remember for sure. That is a trippy cover. Largely the Barbarella comic is what you'd expect to get out of a Barbarella comic. I mean, it's not all sexy time and whatnot, but it always has some, winks and nods at sexual innuendo. And, she goes off on some bizarre, space adventure and whatnot. I have to look to see who this cover is because I really dig it. So this is cover C. That's one of the things. This book comes out with like 5 or 6 covers, which surprises me that they would be paying that many people to do covers for it. So it is Kyle Stranham and Baldemar Rivas is who does the variant cover for this one. But you know, like I said, there's all kinds of choices. I don't know if you can see those. The camera probably not going to focus that close. But so quite a few choices as far as variant covers. This has actually got cleared of variant cover H. Mind you, variant cover G is a black and white of the cover that I have. There's Eric Powell covers and Ryan Brown covers. Largely, I've been picking up the artist on the inside covers because those have been the most whimsical and funny. So basically, that's what I've been doing. I've just basically been picking the ones that I'm interested in and stuff. So yeah, I mean, right now she's hanging out on the surface of a star. And she's hurrying up because the suit that she is wearing is breaking down, so she doesn't have much longer, and she's not going to be able to survive being on the star. And she is saving a race of critters that live on this star that this evil corporation basically is wanting to kill off so they can mine the star better, basically. I really do love that cover. I love the colors on it and whatnot. Cool stuff. So I'm reading on what Jared has to say about Wildstorm. The entire Wildstorm series has been good, but all 15 issues are about the equivalent of 3 late 90s issues. Yeah, fair enough. I mean, I would agree with that just because I've been enjoying it a lot, but it does. It seems like we get these issues, and it's just this long, drawn out something, which we'll read awesome in trade. One big fat trade just to kind of pour through, I would assume, because you get these kind of long shots of people walking across the desert and that sort of stuff. But as far as feeling like stuff is moving, you get these moments of where something's moving, and then lots of gathering of pieces. So, Clan Killers, issue number 4. I think I'm the only person that's reading this, other than having tricked young Fred into picking up some issues of it. Not that I tricked him. He wholeheartedly picked it himself. Elements of this book I absolutely love, and elements of this book that when I see it, I'm like, I don't understand why this is structured this way, why the page is structured this way, why the story is being told this way, and other elements I really like. So it is a young girl of a family, a very powerful clan in Ireland, and she hates them all. She hates her father. She hates this goddess that gave him made him mad with power, and she wants to kill it all. You know, she wants to basically kill all religion, all everything, and just, you know, live free and wild. Like I said, there are elements in the book that I just think are, you know, brilliant. Well, here we go. Here's a late issue. Just some of the art in it is just bonkers, right? Just some really, really cool elements. So really like the art in it, and but I don't know, it's a wild ride. I read it, would not recommend it to anybody else at this point, but there's just elements to it that just really, really tickle me. Oh, what the stuff that's tragic. And here's the other cover of Doom Patrol, another, you know, sword and sorcery D&D-esque kind of a thing. I chose to pick up all of the variant covers for it because I am a Doom Patrol collector, collect all the Doom Patrol stuff, and I didn't want to have to try and hunt these down after the fact, so I just ordered them as they came out. Next up is the bizarrely Ice Cream Man. It's kind of an Outer Limits sort of a story where each issue largely is telling individual stories. The only element that seems to be consistent in is Ice Cream Man, and then we occasionally get these elements of that there might be a greater story. That cover, if you do not like clowns, is quite frightening. Yeah, this I love this book. The stories are just super, super intriguing in it and whatnot. So very much looking for that. My phone went off, and it is work, so I'm hurrying through this before I answer my phone. So next up, we have Maneaters. This is issue number 2. There you get the little kitty cat that clearly is the tampon. But this cover, check that out. It's iridescent. That is cool. That's cool. The first issue of Maneaters was amusing. Not nearly as deep or as heavy hitting as what I don't know what I expected it to be. I mean, I expected it to be a giant, I don't know, man-hating manifesto or something like that. The way some people were acting about it. No, it wasn't. It's actually kind of a fun story. The premise is that there's a virus that makes it to where when young women first start to menstruate, there's a potential that they turn into kind of a were-cat creature of sorts. So there's a struggle to try and keep that from happening. Most people get inoculated, and most people, the inoculation works. Occasionally it doesn't take, and then you have this disaster happening where this monster's out man-eating, just tearing people up and eating them and whatnot. The book had lots of little, winks and nods to, different parts of femininity and whatnot, which were lots of fun. This one looks like in page 2, or page 3 or 4, our main character she's just had her period, her first one. She's trying to figure out exactly how to use hygiene products and whatnot. And we get this whole kind of, this is how it works. And, I'm assuming menstruation throughout time, Joan of Arc and all these other women, people and whatnot, but the art is fun in it. It's actually a really amusing book. I enjoyed issue 1. There are elemental problems with the description, not in the book itself, but when you read the interviews with the writer about her description of what it means to be a female is dicey kind of thing, but I think that's largely because in the interview, I'm guessing she was focused on her book as opposed to meaning it in a greater sense of the word, I think. So yeah. And then finally this time a Black Mass book, so we'll see how it turns out and how consistently it comes out. Sex, Death, and Revolution. This is from Megs Pizarro, who I'm kind of interested in to see trans woman, what she has to say. I'm not really, to tell you the truth, do not know what the book is about, largely, but I'm just curious to see, what are they? Life is a story. Here's the beginning. Here's the beginning rewritten. So I don't know. I have no idea, really what the book's gonna be. This issue, this first issue, is super thick, and it looks to be all this book. So I'll be curious. Largely, I'm picking this up because Magdalene, shouldn't call her Meg, right? Magdalene wrote Eternity Girl, and I really, really liked the Eternity Girl story a lot. So I basically said, look, I'm going to try whatever else she is writing. So I'm going to check it out and see what else you have to say. Anyway, that's it. Like I said, hopefully here in about an hour, I will be on Longbox Reviews channel, and we'll be talking late breaking news, unless, of course, work that has just called me, it's something traumatic, and then it's going to suck, and I'm going to hate work. Anyway, thanks for watching. Have a great one, everybody. See you next time.